Hello, today I'm going to show you how you can use this spreadsheet to compare your Google Analytics 4 purchases to your Shopify orders and find any discrepancies like missing transactions or revenue differences between Shopify and Google Analytics 4. So you can see here with this spreadsheet, it shows you the any missing transactions, so orders that are in Shopify but didn't make it to Google Analytics 4. It shows you any revenue discrepancies, so anything where the order did make it to Google Analytics 4, but the revenue number in Google Analytics 4 doesn't match Shopify. And it will also surface any missing or any duplicate purchases. So if you're getting duplicate purchases in Google Analytics 4, you'll see that here. And any refunds, if you are sending refund data, it will send that over as well. And you can compare that to Shopify. So let's take a look about what this does for you. So you can see here that it does an actual order by order comparison. The reason why that's super helpful is it helps us track down why these discrepancies are happening. You can see here that I have the actual order ID, the actual transaction ID from Google Analytics 4 being compared to the actual order over in Shopify. So if we see a revenue difference like this, like we see here, it actually helps me go and find out why there's a revenue discrepancy. In this case, we're using the Shopify built-in Google Analytics 4 integration, and we know that that integration doesn't account for upsell revenue correctly. And in fact, that is the reason why we see this discrepancy here. So we see that Google Analytics reports $20 here, Shopify reports $38, and if I scroll all the way over to the right, I can see a bunch of additional information about the Shopify order. In this case, it's a reconvert upsell that's causing the discrepancy. If you didn't know that based on the notes here, we added this handy little feature where you can click on the order and it will generate, the spreadsheet actually generates an order link for you. So you can just click on this and look at the actual order in Shopify. So we see here in this case, Google Analytics reported $20, right? And it's missing the upsell here that was created from reconvert, right? It includes things like the payment method. So if you're consistently seeing missing transactions, it may be a payment method that is not reporting orders to Shopify. If you're seeing consistently missing transactions, it also might be because you have a Shopify app like Global E or Recharge that's creating orders in Shopify that aren't being sent over to Google Analytics 4. Of course, in the case of Shopify's built-in integration, no subscription orders. So any subscription orders that aren't the first order of the subscription, those aren't going to show up in Google Analytics 4 because they're client side only. You can check out our app, Slide Rule Analytics. It sends server-side data. If you want, if you do see those issues, you can use that app and see if you get more accurate data. I would expect that you would, right? This spreadsheet works whether or not you are sending the order names. So that's what the built-in integration sends. The Shopify's built-in integration will send the order names as the transaction ID in Google Analytics 4. So if you're sending those transaction IDs formatted like this, some apps send it as the order number. It's the same as the order name, but it doesn't use the hashtag. Or if you're using Slide Rule Analytics, we send the actual order ID, and several other apps can do that as well. So if you click on this, it will update, and you can do however you're sending those transaction IDs over to Google Analytics 4, you can still use this spreadsheet to find the discrepancies. So that's everything we can do with this spreadsheet. Well, there's one more thing that we can do with this spreadsheet. It will also surface any time zone differences. So you see here's the date that's being reported. And if we click on this, we can see the actual date and hour that's reported in Google Analytics 4. And we can see the date and hour that's reported in Shopify. It will also surface any tax or shipping differences. So it will show that as well. Okay, cool. Now that we've seen everything that this spreadsheet can do, the remainder of the video, I'm going to show you how to use this spreadsheet. It's very simple. It doesn't rely on any APIs or any app integrations or anything like that. and it just pulls data from Shopify and Google Analytics 4. So let's jump in and see how we do that. You are going to, of course, have the template. So the first thing you need to do is make a copy of the template, add the name of your store. In our case, we'll just do, SRA demo, and make a copy of the spreadsheet. Okay, once the spreadsheet is copied, of course, there's no data in here yet. So the first thing we're going to do is add our store info, right? I need to add my store slug. The way you can find the store slug is it's here. If you have an admin, if you go to your Shopify admin, it will be either this or it will be, if you still have my Shopify admins, it will be right here. So I just copy that and I paste it in there. Cool. And that's all I have to do for configuring the store. That's what lets us generate the order IDs, the order links that we demonstrated earlier. All right, the next step is I've got to import my Shopify data. So the way that I do that is I go over to Shopify, go back to my Shopify admin, and I'm going to export here, going to click export. And I'm going to select orders by date because I don't want to export all of my orders. Now I'm going to pick a date range that doesn't include yesterday's data. The reason why is that Google Analytics 4 takes 24 hours to process data. It's noon on March 29th. 24 hours ago, I still could have had orders that came in yesterday afternoon that might not be processed yet, and I don't want to consider those discrepancies just yet, right? So I'm always going to click the day before yesterday. That's the earliest date I'm going to use. You can go as far back as you want to find discrepancies. We're going to select March 21st through March 27th like this. CSV export is fine, and I just click export. Okay, it tells me that my my orders are exporting. So I'll just wait and they'll be emailed to me. And you can see it doesn't take very long. They get emailed to me like this. I just download the report, download the CSV file, and then return back to my Shopify raw data tab. And I go File, Import, Upload, find that exported file, whatever it was. And then very importantly, I'm going to select Replace Current Sheet and Import Data. Great. After a few seconds, we'll see that it imported the Shopify raw data. It takes a little bit of time for the spreadsheet to process it, not very long, but we'll see that it populates the Shopify data here like that. Perfect. Cool. Of course, we haven't imported any Google Analytics 4 data yet, so that's why it's not showing any of that, right? So it shows there are no matches in Google Analytics 4. That's totally fine, but we see that the Shopify order data populated here. Totally fine. Great. Next step is to import our Google Analytics 4 data. The way that I do that is I need to create an exploration in Google Analytics 4 that looks like this, right? So this is what we're going to go for. I'm going to show you how to create that right now. So first thing is you log into Google Analytics 4, make sure that you've selected the Google Analytics 4 account that you want to use. So like this, you're going to go over to Explorations. Explorations are a very powerful part of Google Analytics 4, so you're going to get used to using them a lot with Google Analytics 4. We'll have additional videos coming out about, and we have some existing videos about how to use explorations, so be sure to check those out. But in this case, I'm just going to create a very simple exploration that's got my transaction IDs, right? So I need to import these dimensions into the palette over there on the left. So I import the transaction ID and I import the date. The date in this case, I want the hour as well. Cool. And then I need to import my metrics over into the palette here. So I click metrics, and the ones that I need are purchases. So I'm going to select purchases and purchase revenue. There's no difference between the e-commerce purchases and purchases. Don't worry about that. I also need refunds. I need shipping amount, and I need tax amount, like so. Click import. Great. And now, so I've imported those dimensions over onto the palette. I need to add them to the actual canvas over here to create the report. The way that I do that is I click on it and I drag it over. So I drag my dimensions over to the rows like this, and then I drag my metrics over to the values down here. So you see that here, and it starts to populate the report. I need to make sure that I use the correct order here. So it goes purchases, purchase revenue, and then I've got, let's see, I've got purchases, purchase revenue, then I want shipping amount, tax amounts, and finally refunds, like that. Cool, great. So now I've created the report. Now that's a one-time process. So if I want to use this report, I want to use this exploration, I don't need to recreate the exploration every time. Explorations are saved in Google Analytics 4. So I'm going to name this report something useful. In fact, I recommend that you just name it. You just copy the name from the spreadsheet, so it's very clear what we're using this for. You might even name the tab over here in case people add additional tabs. So I would do by transaction ID, like that. Cool. And now I've named the report, and I can reuse this anytime I want to update the date. I do need to select the same date range that I selected over when I exported the data from Shopify. So that was from the 1st to the 6th. So I select that date range here, and I click, or the 7th, it was the 1st through the 7th, the 1st through the 7th, March 27th, like that, right? Yep, today's the 29th, and I click apply. Great. Cool. So now I've selected the same date range, I've created the report. I can always come in and update the date range using the same exploration. I don't have to recreate it every time. And now all I have to do is export this data from the Google Analytics 4 interface over into the spreadsheet. So the way I do that is I'm just going to export it to Google Sheets. This is the fastest. I just click import. And then I'm going to copy, oh, I forgot one step. I want to, you see we have a bunch of not set data here. I want to get rid of that. I don't know why Google Analytics does that, but it's very easy to get rid of. You just go create a filter for transaction IDs, and you're going to say does not exactly match, and then you go not set, like so. Click apply. And now we'll see when I export this data to a Google Sheet, it doesn't include those not sets anymore. So we'll import the data. And cool, there's my transactions. Great. All right, cool. So I'm going to select this. All I'm going to do is select the actual data. I don't need any of this additional information. I don't need the grand total. I don't need the headers or anything. I just select that, and I'm just going to go over to the GA4 raw data, and I'm going to paste it in like that. And that's all I have to do. Cool. If you do use something other than if you're not using the order names, like I said, that's what the Shopify built-in plugin, which is the data we're using here. That's what that sends over as the transaction ID to Google Analytics 4. So we want to match it with that. But you can also match it with the order numbers and the orders IDs if that's what you're sending over to Google Analytics 4. So you can select that here, right? In this case, we're going to stick with order names like that. Cool. And once we do that, we'll see that this spreadsheet fills out automatically. That's all I have to do to update the spreadsheet, right? And see the discrepancies. You can see that the same missing transactions and revenue discrepancies that we saw before are just automatically updated with this spreadsheet. You don't need to do anything else after you import the data, and you can explore why it is that you're missing, what discrepancies you have between Google Analytics 4 and Shopify. Hope you find this useful. Check out some of our other videos about how to create explorations in Google Analytics 4, other things that you might find useful with Shopify and Google Analytics 4. We've got that on our YouTube channel. Check out our newsletter where we send out blog posts, also on Shopify and Google Analytics 4 and other Shopify metrics types things. And definitely check out our Google Analytics 4 app in the Shopify store. It covers a lot of, if you're seeing a lot of discrepancies here, definitely check out that app and give it a try. And we expect that you will see far fewer discrepancies between Shopify and Google Analytics 4 using that app than the built-in Shopify integration or Google Tag Manager or other ways to implement Google Analytics 4 in Shopify. Cool. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.